Jen, I was just picking off cat hair from my mic. We were just talking about.
We deal with this, don't we? Cat glitter.
Cat
It's everywhere.
With my cat mug today, so it goes.
Oh, I love the cat mug. That's perfect. Well, as I was showing you earlier, I have my Tandem Services logo mug that I just got. And on the other side, ignore the lipstick, it's got my imprint logo. So I'm very excited to have, I've wanted this for a long time. And it's one of those things, hey, Zan, that just takes forever to get around to getting it on your list, to getting it. So anyways, I was very thrilled to have it. So
when you come,
to get more swag that has my logo on it.
Yes, you are. When you come, so Jen will be live with me here in a couple of weeks. I can't wait. I have a mug that is for the farm, and you're gonna have to drink out of it.
Yes, I will love that. That will be awesome. It's very exciting.
It will be wonderful. It will be wonderful. I needed the caffeine this morning.
Yes, I did too. This is my second cup of coffee, and it's only 8:30 here.
Good golly.
It's overcast. And we don't, normally I have sun this time of the morning and it's overcast, which I will take. I will take over the 111 temperatures. I will take the clouds, but it does make it harder for me to wake up. So.
Well, I definitely put in some long hours this week already. And it was like, I was, exhausted as well. Yes. So I needed some caffeine, but Zan's tuning in and that's awesome. Anybody else that's tuning in, we love comments. We love to see them. So share them with us, ask questions. We love it. Jen, last week we had a wonderful chat. You poured into me and everybody else. And I'm so grateful for it.
Book funnel, so much fun.
Oh, it's a rabbit hole of something I could go down one day.
Right? This is the challenge with, I suppose, any level of entrepreneurship, but I would say particularly for authorpreneurs. Yes. There are so many fun little gadgets. And I love that all of these creative people have come up with ways to support authors. And some of them are repurposing existing tools. Some of them are specific for authors, but you have to be wise in figuring out, you don't have unlimited time, and what's going to give you the best bang for your buck, what's going to give you the most return on your time and your energy. And that is always a challenge. So I love recommendations of tools from other authors because it's just so helpful. Oh, I don't have to mess with that one. This one's the best one. I'm going to go use this one.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's a perfect alignment with the topic we're talking today on emPact, because at the end of the day, you're writing a book. You have written a book, you're going to use a book because you want to do something for somebody else. You want to make a difference in the life of somebody. So getting hung up on all of the things is overwhelming. You don't know where to go because your whole goal is for the book to be a tool to help somebody. Now, it can be a fiction journey, which is extremely meaningful. So much so, Jen, you'll appreciate this. And those listening, this is a little sneaky peeky. In 2 weeks, I have a book coming out, and in preparation, I'm going to populate a couple of unexpected podcast episodes. And one of the episodes I'm doing is I've interviewed my family on authors who have made an impact in their life.
Wow, that's cool. That's fun.
It is. And
Were you surprised by any of the answers?
I was. And it reminded me, in a beautiful way, it reminded me that there are people pouring into each and every one of us in ways nobody knows. Yeah. And I didn't realize that I knew authors could make a difference. I didn't realize they could make a difference on 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, and 10-year-olds in the way that they do. My oldest shares in the episode how, and he's 10, how an author, and they only talked about fiction books, Jen. Now, the caveat is they weren't allowed to say that I was the author that made an impact in their life. They couldn't. Yes, and you can't. That's the only caveat. Right. My husband tried, and I said, stop. There's other people. But they all picked fiction. Yeah. And it's proof to me that there's so much value. But my oldest talked about his favorite author. I'm not going to give all the deets away because you're going to want to listen to the episode, but how his favorite author began writing because he had ADHD. And back in the day, that was very not as understood as it is today. Right. He would be sent to sit outside of the classroom for being disruptive. And outside in the hallway is when he would start writing comics. And he built a whole business, a whole book on comics as the cornerstone for sharing a message. I had no idea, Jen. None. And Here, my son, this is the first time my oldest and I had a chat about this. And it's just proof that I walked away from that realizing this, my son knows this, and this particular author is inspiring him to say, whatever challenge you're going through, you can make a difference. And so when I say impact, it can be fiction, nonfiction, anybody, in any type of book.
Well, I think children's books are so powerful. In fact, I would love it if you guys in your comments put your favorite children's book from when you were a kid. I know we have favorites that we read, maybe to our children, but books that made an impact. I mean, I know everybody exactly can come up with a book that, oh my gosh, I wanted to read this over and over and over when I was a kid. It was so impactful. And I think children's books have just an amazing power because children haven't lost that imagination yet. And so we do tend to read fiction books to them that explore and gratify that imagination. The Giving Tree is just a wonderful example of that.
And it's also very sad, by the way. It's a beautiful book and a very depressing book at the same level. The older I get, the more depressed the book is to me. But as a kid, it taught me so many beautiful things.
Yes. And I loved the Little House books. I read those over and over. I remember, and I started reading very, very young, but I remember my mom reading them to me and a babysitter reading them to me. And I was just captivated by the whole concept of their life and everything about it, kind of this adventure and this family, dealing with all the vagaries of living in nature, in the middle of nature, and all of the challenges, having to really be self-reliant and reliant on your community and your family. And I have read the series, I couldn't even tell you how many times I've read the series. And Little Women was another one. But I have even a lot of the younger, like more picture books that I've kept for my children. They're on my shelf in my living room. And there's just some fun. You just look at the covers and it just brings back all these memories. And that is just an amazing, powerful thing that a book can do. And I just love that. It just transports you to someplace else.
It does. So when we're talking about impact, I giggle because I say over here, I spell it differently, right? I like it with the E-M, capital P, A-C-T. And there's a reason outside of the fact that it's a beautiful brand alignment, but there's a real reason. And it's because I believe when you look at just having impact, some people think, well, yeah, you have a car wreck, that has an impact. You lose your job, that's impactful, right? But when you have impact with the E-M in the front, I'm blending this impact we can make on people through this lens of empowerment. How do you make an impact and empower someone to go to that next level? And like my interviews with my kids, it was living proof that now they see a challenge of theirs as an opportunity. I have a daughter who didn't read because she had an auditory issue. Now she reads thanks to this one particular author. And that author is like, now she's literally in my interview, she shares that she would love to write a book with her. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this. I mean, it was so sweet. Or just like what you said, Jen, like, so authors are given like such a beautiful gift that sometimes we overlook and sometimes we take for granted, but it is this opportunity to empower somebody to do bigger, to be better, to do more, and make an impact on their lives, even at a young age. It's pretty crazy.
It's really amazing, and I always tell my authors, a book will make an impact and go around the world in ways you will never know. You will never know all the people it can reach. You'll never know how many people's lives it's going to touch. You will never know.
Yep.
Some small portion of those people will contact you, leave you a message on social media or a review or something and let you know how much they enjoyed your book. But most of it you will never know. And that's kind of one of the beautiful things of it is you create something and you put it out in the world and you hope wonderful things happen by letting it go free. And at every age, I think at every age in our lives, we can think of books that impacted us, made us think differently about something, made us, empowered us to do something, gave us a skill set, gave us a new way of thinking. I know you and I read a lot of business books for our business, and a lot of them are really, there's a lot of mindset stuff in business books because there's so much that you have to change your thinking and some of those kinds of things. And so as I just think about the books over the past year that I've read and that have changed my ways of thinking. I was just sharing yesterday with my financial advisor, John Acuff's soundtracks.
Oh, love it.
I know. Isn't that, I got my kids his teen version.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because he was doing a pre-order where you got the audiobook for free, and I thought actually they might listen to the audiobook more than the actual book.
That's
and
awesome.
I think there's just something about when you find a book that you love, you want to share it with everybody you know, right? Because you're like, this was so important to me. This really had such a cool concept, or it changed my way of thinking. You just want to share it with everybody. And I love that. I love that power. You know, I mean, John Acuff will never know that. He's never going to listen to her.
He might.
He might. But probably not.
We might have to tag him. See, I don't know. I'll tag him in here. John, and it's funny how you say Acuff. I say a cuff. I don't know. Is it the emphasis on the wrong syllable? And I'm looking because I have his books. I'm making sure I'm spelling his last name right. Acuff. Yeah, I'm going to say John Acuff. We love you. There you go.
But I mean, that's a perfect example of, you know, something that can really, you can take just a couple key ideas and they can be really impactful. And then you start sharing them with people. And that is literally that ripple effect of that impact that you're talking about.
It does. And actually, usually we save this till the end when we do a book to highlight, but it's really meaningful to do it now for me, I think. I just finished reading. I've been reading a lot the last couple of days. I'm on, I don't know, book 4 for the week or something insane. That's just what we do for our lives.
Right. You read so much.
You read so much. And I just finished this book. It's called The Picture Wall. Have you heard of it, Jen?
No, that's really interesting.
The Picture Wall. The subtitle is One Woman's Journey of Becoming His, Her, Their Mother. And the book is about a mother's process of navigating what it is like to have a biological son who becomes or acknowledges and aligns with being transgender to then becoming non-binary. And what is it like from the mother's perspective even through a Christian lens on how she navigated it. And this is what I love about books. Books allow us to understand and learn and realize and think about things we've never maybe thought about or considered or what have you. And so I could have put the book down. In fact, I think I read it in like a couple of hours. Like it was literally that good. But this is one of my favorite, the whole book is underlined. Okay. But one of my favorite quotes in it is at the end. It said, and here's the context. It's called The Picture Wall because hi Kitty. Hi, Kitty.
Yeah. The ghost. The ghost in my house.
The ghost
known as Pippin.
Yes. So it's called The Picture Wall because this particular woman had a wall in her house where she collected photos of everybody. And when her child, they were making a move, she asked her child to take a look at the wall. And if there were photos that, they didn't want there anymore, to let her know. And they took down all of the photos of them. And it was because the photos that she remembered, the journeys that she remembered of motherhood were not in alignment with what their child saw. And it was really interesting. So the picture wall evolved, but it is, you need to know that because in alignment with one of my favorite quotes in her book, it says this: "It's time for me to let go of the question, what was real, and accept that both versions of the story can be true at the same time."
Yes.
And I honestly don't know if I've ever read a book on such a timely topic that is so vulnerable and raw and loving and welcoming and honest ever. Yeah. And it was beautiful.
That's the beauty of books. You can enter in someone else's story. You would never maybe know this person. Your paths may never cross. But now you've entered into her story. She was vulnerable and opened up her life to you, to her readers, and you were able to understand what it's like to walk in somebody else's shoes and their experience. And now your world is a little bit bigger because of that. And that is the beauty of books. That's just powerful. It's incredibly powerful. I mean, even authors who speak are limited by how many people they actually get in front of. But with a book, it keeps going. Your book is not limited to who you can physically be in front of. And I think that's just a perfect example of the power of that.
It is, and it's a story that it's this woman's true story of hardship and challenge that she could have just held inside.
Yes, right. She could have not shared it.
And because she shared it, she's changing people. Yeah. She is opening eyes. She is acknowledging things that not everybody talks about. She's being honest with herself, but through the lens of love. She's growing. She's helping other people. I mean, this is why we write books.
Right.
Because we can make an impact, not just a car wreck impact, an empowered impact that creates a pay it forward journey. That I would never have had the opportunity otherwise. So, I mean, I'm putting the author and the book title in the comments because it was truly impactful. And I think no matter who you are, no matter your journey, your thoughts on the topic or whatever, I think everyone should read this book.
Yes, it's so powerful. And there's just something about understanding people's stories. I was talking to a client earlier this week on this very subject about bringing other people's stories. She's hosting a women's conference, and her goal, she's in the process of writing a book, and her goal is to bring in lots of people's stories because, even if you're just talking about just women, well, 50% of the population, there's such a variety of stories amongst just women. And so bringing those in, allowing us to understand other people's journeys, it's really incredibly, incredibly powerful.
Yeah. So, of course, I'm putting on my marketing hat. How do you do that? Right? Writing the book.
How do you do that?
How do you do that? But writing the book is, I think, the first part. But as Jen so beautifully helped in me writing my Amazon description, it was so much fun. You probably were like, Stephanie, leave me alone. But I'm like,
no, it was awesome. I loved it. I loved it. It's so much more fun working on other people's things.
I know. Well, and I'm the first to say, like, I know I can help you. But I'm too close to it. But
yes,
and there was something in the description. It's like, what is a book if it isn't read?
Yes.
Shudder. Like the tree. Does the tree fall? Like if no one hears the sound, kind of thing. In the forest, it hit me. That is where marketing comes in. You can write the most amazing book, but if nobody reads it, the impact is I want to cry. So how do you do that? Well, there's several ways, and that has been laying heavy on my heart, Jen, which is I think why the book that I've written that's coming out in on the 27th, so less than 2 weeks, and it's up for pre-order. Like little shameless plug, the ebook's up for pre-order right now. That particular book, it's written because of that, because I have this charge of please do not write a book and not share it. Please, please write a book and please make sure that your people find it. So how do you do that? And how do you do that? So, I share in the book, and my book's called Make Your Author Impact. So I'll put that in the notes when I stop talking and hand the baton over, but in the comment. But at the end of the day, how do you do that? Well, the important part is you need to make sure you have a strong platform. You need to leverage your connections. You need to do some visibility work. But all of that, and I hope the book walks away with empowering you with, thanks, Jen. Empowering you with that is that I have guardrails, but it's nothing as a one size fits all. Do not go and think I have to do these 10 steps. Think about who needs your book, and then ask yourself, how can I get it to them? Yes. And it's truly, that is the essence of it.
It's true. And every book even is different. Having done this multiple times now, every book, I look at it and I think about what is the best way to get this into the hands of the people that want it. And there's some core things that you talk about in your book that stay the same, core thought processes, core messages, but the tactics of how you might do it can change from book to book. And I think that's one of the things that is really, I tell authors this all the time, you are attracted to all these little shiny tactics. Should I do Facebook ads? Should I do Instagram ads? Should I do Reels? Should I do TikTok? Those are tactics. You don't think about those till you've come up with your strategy. And that is your core message, the core process of who you're going to reach. And that is exactly what your book walks them through, is that core strategy before we talk about all of the shiny impact tactics, things that will change over time. TikTok's really hot right now, but so what? It may go away. Who knows?
Yeah,
right?
well, that's my goal. Exactly. If you focus at the end of the day on the foundation of how you tackle it, then you can integrate any of the current things that are out there, but who knows? I social media might not be a thing in 10 years, might still be, I really wanted to help authors today and in 100 years go back to the core principles of how do I reach the people that need this most, and what are the ways to do that, and then you throw in the tactics. Absolutely. The other thing, Jen, and we alluded to the fact that you're going to be here in person in 2 weeks.
Excited.
I know, 2 weeks from today, actually. We are, the other big way that authors make an impact that I find is through speaking. And I'm not saying you have to do that, but speaking just is a beautiful next step in your impact journey, because it allows you to have a one-to-many reach. And Zan, thank you. You're so sweet.
Oh, Zan, you will love it. This is really timely for you because Zan is working on her book with us right now. And so I think it will be very powerful for her.
Yay! You're so sweet. But so we have an event on the 29th and 30th of September. It's actually in person because I'm ready. I'm ready to see people.
Yes, we are ready to see people and to hang out and to talk about all this stuff in person. It'll be so fun.
Yes, and it is really meant for authors who are also looking to build and grow their speaking business. We'll be doing some mock speaking events to get beautiful footage and to give you the opportunity and footage and photos to give authors the opportunity to test things out, to learn, get some real-time coaching. But you will walk away with a speaker sizzle reel to help you promote your speaking business. You will walk away with author brand photo shoots and headshots and speaker shots. You'll walk away with your speaker one sheet and so much marketing strategy poured into you specifically for your book. We have limited seats and we're closing shop on the 18th. So this Sunday we're closing it. But I'll put the link in here. We still have some space. So anybody interested, come. Let us pour in. Actually, most of the people who will be there are from out of town. So you'll get to enjoy some Southern hospitality. And Secret will be launching the book that night too, so you could be a part of that as well. So it'll be a lot of fun. But not that you have to do that. But if speaking is something you want to do to go there, we have that resource. And I'm just honestly pumped, Jen, that you're going to be here. In fact, you and I on the 29th, we might have to move our live to do it.
I might be on a plane. Yes, we might have to do it earlier before I get on the plane because I think I get on a plane. I think I'm driving.
Wednesday. You're coming on Wednesday, so we should do it on Thursday when you're here.
We could totally do it on Thursday when I'm there. That would be fun. That'd be better than me doing it from the car.
We're not doing it in a car or plane.
Or the airport.
We've done it in a couple crazy places.
We have done this show in a few places that are
but strange. It's, you know what? But we're living proof of progress over perfection. And when you focus on impact, it's about progress.
Yes. That's very true. And there is so much, especially when you're putting out your first book or your first couple books, you can get so tied up in knots. And I will raise my hand to this because, I'm a recovering perfectionist. And so it's super easy to get into, I have to do everything exactly right. But I will say that it's an iteration, right? You get better, you get feedback, you get more data points. And there's really not much you can do that you can't recover from. Like you can't say, I have just totally screwed up this book launch. Guess what? You can relaunch it again.
Yeah, you can.
Like that's a thing. You can totally do that. So there's many, many things you can do. The point is to dive in, do something, make some forward progress, learn and reiterate and go forward and forward. I mean, I could talk about all of the things that I have not done correctly. And you know what? It's fine.
Me too, Jen. Me too.
Right.
Me too. Yeah. Because let's see, I had an epiphany the other day. Oh, I don't know. I'm human, so I'll never do anything perfect.
Right.
And that's
part of it.
Hey.
Yes.
Progress over perfection. You know what?
Yes.
If you read the book, I hope anybody that reads it, I hope they walk away with the core realization that to get to the top of the mountain doesn't mean that you have to look up. It means you look down at your feet. Just keep moving. Or my favorite movie all the time, Finding Nemo. Just keep swimming, right? Just keep moving. And if you've made a mistake or whatever, that's fine. You have this moment. It is a gift.
Yep.
Use it.
Absolutely.
Use it for momentum, because there are people out there, little 10-year-olds out there, who are watching and listening and reading. And
Yes.
they need us.
Yes.
Get off my soapbox.
Yeah. It's true though, right? It is so powerful. And we really do let that fear. I mean, and you and I both do the Colby, the Colby A, I think is the one for the individuals. But, you know, and we're quite different on that. I'm very high in fact finding. I'm like top of the scale fact finding. And so I'm very cognizant of this now. I like all the steps in order. I like to have everything, and then I think about it and I make sure, do I have it right? And it can be very hard for me to take action on that. Yeah. On one of the other scales is quick start, and I'm about as low as you can get because I'm a 1, and Stephanie's much higher in that. But having that, this kind of collaboration together is fantastic, because I can get to far enough, and then you're like, okay, we're done, let's go. And it's like, awesome, because I need that. I need someone to say, it's fine, let's just go. And so
I need someone like you who does the opposite, like tells me, yeah, I want you to think about these 5 things. Yeah. And these 5 things will make your thing better. And that's why we need each other.
Yes. And so this is where the power of having people in your community, in your corner, to help you along that process, which is part of what Stephanie and I love to do, is helping authors along this process, wherever they are in their writing journey, to provide some of that perspective, to tell you it's time to move faster, or nope, it's time to, let's run it through one more time, you know, whatever it may be. Having that, it's just really, I don't know that you could do this alone. I don't think you can do this journey alone.
I don't think you're supposed to do life alone.
I don't think you're supposed to. I don't think we were designed for that. And so having people on this journey with you, if you don't have people in your actual world that's in your corner, there are definitely online groups. You can reach out to us. We both have resources and things for people to help. But you need to do this in community, because you can't possibly know and see it all on your own, and you'll be likely to not move forward. I know so many people that get started and just quit, and then guess what? The whole world does not get to see your book, your thoughts, your story, the things that are so powerful that only you can bring to the table. And so I just encourage you to, if you're in that space, find someone to help you along that journey, so your story does not stay hidden in a drawer somewhere. And that, I mean, maybe a virtual drawer, maybe not a literal drawer, but.
Exactly. Well, Jen, next week we're talking about empowerment.
Yes.
No, empowerment. Yes.
Yes. Books empower people. Continuing really a lot of what we've been talking about today, about how your book can make an impact and why you want your book to be out there. We'll continue.
And we'll give you some tangible tips on how to do that. All right, Jen, close us up with your beautiful closing.
Oh, authors, as we have said today, your words have power, your book has power, and so does your message. So we invite you to take that message to the page and beyond, and join us next week as we have this continuing discussion.
Yes, and Zan is right. Writing is isolating enough. We need a tribe. We want to be your tribe. Jen and I are real people who love people, and we love authors, and we love y'all. If you've got questions, we have answers, or if we don't, we'll drink over caffeine and talk it through with you.
That's right. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, so join us next week. We'll see you then. Bye, guys.
Okay, bye-bye.